In the 13th century, one empire stood above all others. Not Rome, not the Mongols, not the Byzantine Empire, the Song Dynasty of China. They had gunpowder, the compass, paper money, and a navy that no one on earth could match. Their capital, Hangzhou, was the largest city in the world, home to over 1.5 million people at a time when London had less than 80,000. For 45 years, they held back the most devastating military force in human history. The Mongols had already destroyed everything in their path: Persia, the Abbasid Caliphate, the Kievan Rus, Poland, Hungary. No empire had survived them, but the Song did, for 45 years. Then, in 1276, in less than 3 weeks, it was over. This is the story of how the most advanced civilization on Earth fell, and why almost nobody talks about it. To understand how the Song fell, you first need to understand what they built. The Song dynasty came to power in 960 AD, unifying China after decades of fragmentation. From the beginning, they were different from every other empire of their time. While Europe was still deep in the medieval period, the Song Chinese were printing books with movable type, manufacturing steel on an industrial scale, and operating a merchant navy that traded across Southeast Asia, India, and the Persian Gulf. Their economy was the largest in the world, accounting for roughly 30% of global GDP at its peak. They were the first government in history to issue paper currency, the first to use gunpowder weapons in warfare, the first to build paddle-wheel warships. By the 12th century, the Song had been pushed south by the Jurchen Jin dynasty, losing northern China but rebuilding an even more prosperous empire in the south. The Southern Song, as historians call it, had its capital at Hangzhou, a city of canals, markets, and palaces that stunned every foreign visitor who saw it. The Venetian merchant Marco Polo, who arrived decades after the fall, still called it the greatest city he had ever seen. This was the empire the Mongols wanted. Genghis Khan had begun his conquest of northern China in 1211, defeating the Jurchen Jin dynasty over the course of 2 decades. But the Southern Song was a different problem entirely. The Mongol military machine was built for open steppe warfare, fast cavalry, wide formations, speed above everything. The south of China was the opposite: rivers, lakes, rice paddies, dense cities, terrain that neutralized everything the Mongols were good at. The first major Mongol attempt to invade the Southern Song began in 1235 under Ögedei Khan, Genghis's son. It went nowhere. The Song used their naval superiority to control the river systems, cutting off Mongol supply lines and turning every advance into a slow, grinding nightmare. The Mongols could win battles, but they couldn't hold ground. This pattern repeated for decades. Mongol armies would push south, take a few cities, then be forced back. The Song would recover, the border would stabilize, and the cycle would begin again. By the 1250s, the Mongol Empire had conquered more land than any force in history, but the Song remained unconquered. Then came Kublai Khan. Kublai Khan was not like his predecessors. Where Genghis and Ögedei wanted to destroy and move on, Kublai wanted to rule China. He admired Chinese civilization. He studied it. And he understood that to conquer the Song, he needed to think like them, not like a Mongol. In 1267, Kublai launched what would become the decisive campaign of the war. But instead of charging south with cavalry, he started with a siege. Xiangyang. The city of Xiangyang sat at the crossing of the Han River, the single most strategic point in central China. Control Xiangyang, and you control the road to the Yangtze River. Control the Yangtze, and the entire southern empire opens up. The Song knew this. They had fortified Xiangyang for exactly this reason. Twin cities, Xiangyang and Fandung, sat on opposite banks of the Han River, connected by chains and supplies. They were considered impenetrable. Kublai didn't try to storm them. He surrounded them. For 5 years, from 1267 to 1273, the Mongol army blockaded Xiangyang. They built their own fleet on the Han River. They cut off every supply route. They brought in Persian engineers to construct massive counterweight trebuchets, siege weapons the Song had never seen before. When those trebuchets finally opened fire in 1273, the psychological impact was immediate. Fandung fell within days. Xiangyang surrendered shortly after. 5 years, 2 cities. And now the road south was open. With Xiangyang gone, the Song court fell into panic. The man responsible for the defense of the empire was a chancellor named Jia Sidao. For years, he had hidden the true scale of the Mongol threat from the emperor, manipulating reports, suppressing bad news, maintaining his own political power, while the empire eroded around him. When the truth could no longer be hidden, he was sent to lead the army himself. In 1275, the two forces met at Dingjiaju on the Yangtze River. The Song fleet, still powerful, still the largest naval force in Asia, faced the Mongol army and their newly built river fleet. The battle was a disaster. The Song fleet was destroyed. Jia Sidao fled. He was later arrested by his own government and killed by the official escorting him into exile. With their military leadership gone and their navy broken, the Song had nothing left. The Mongol general Bayan, one of the most capable commanders of his era, advanced on Hangzhou with a force so large that Song resistance collapsed city by city ahead of him. In early 1276, the young Emperor Gong sat on the Song throne. He was 7 years old. His mother, Empress Dowager Zi, held the real power, and she knew what was coming. She sent envoys to Bayan asking for peace. Bayan's terms were unconditional surrender. She accepted. In less than 3 weeks of final advance, Bayan's army entered Hangzhou, the largest city in the world, the heart of the most advanced civilization on Earth, surrendered without a final battle. The emperor was taken north to the Mongol court. The Song dynasty, for all practical purposes, was over, but not everyone surrendered. 2 young Song princes escaped south with a group of loyalists. For 3 more years, a remnant Song court fled from city to city, always one step ahead of the Mongol advance, always trying to hold on. The last stand came in 1279 at the Battle of Yamen, off the coast of southern China. The loyalist fleet, carrying the last Song emperor, a child of 8 years old named Emperor Bing, faced the Mongol navy in the South China Sea. They lost. When the last Song admiral saw that the battle was finished, a minister named Lu Shufu made a decision that has echoed through Chinese history ever since. He took the young emperor in his arms, walked to the edge of the ship, and jumped into the sea. Rather than surrender the last Song emperor to the Mongols, he chose death. It is said that over 100,000 Song loyalists followed, jumping into the sea rather than be captured. The Song dynasty was gone. Kublai Khan founded the Yuan dynasty and became the ruler of China. He would later receive Marco Polo at his court and preside over one of the wealthiest empires in the world. But the song left something the Mongols could not conquer. Their technology spread west along trade routes and eventually reached Europe. Gunpowder, printing, the compass, accelerating the Renaissance and the age of exploration. Their administrative systems were so sophisticated that the Mongols kept most of them intact to run the country. The Song didn't fall because they were weak. They fell because they faced something the world had never seen before, and because, in the end, their own leadership failed them at the moment it mattered most. 45 years of resistance, gone in 3 weeks. If you want to know what empire fell next, and how the Mongols finally met their match, that story is coming. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next war.